5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Testing. Is this thing on? Uh-oh. William, I think your oh, is that you or me? Let's see. Yeah, that's me. Oh, well. We'll use that one then.
Can I move on you?
No,
there
no,
you go.
No, you're good. You're good. All right, Rudy says, Rudy's watching from Belgium. He said, yes, it's on. Let's see who's here. Tommy's here. Ken's here. Ken, I have a surprise for you a little later on. Mike L's here. Kenny's here. Anderson, Dave, Timothy. Hey, Timothy. Rod is here from the United Kingdom. Dano, Joe. Welcome, Joe. M1 Sport. Tess is here. Tess, are you really here? Or are you still doing your show? Jan L. Amnon from North Carolina. Henry, Prashana, William, gets up at 2:30 in the morning in Nepal, over there by India, to watch this show.
Yeah.
Martin K., my biggest fan and critic. Martin S., Giles, John, Bill, Jerome, North Carr. Now, North Carr is actually Samuel, who is from Norway, who is a Volvo mechanic in Norway and came over to StreamCon 2 months ago. It was really cool. Merle is not a Volvo mechanic. Chris is it UK or Germany? I never remember. Jerry and Elmar from Poland. So it's really a round group here today. And that's folks that are in the chat room. There looks like there are another dozen or folks watching live that are not in chat. And the way you get to chat is you go to easternshorebroadcasting.com and you click the Watch Live tab. And then that'll bring in this video that you're seeing right here. And then right below us will be the chat. And you can pop out either one and make it see whatever you want. Okay, let's see. Somebody was saying something. All right, Martin S. is good to go. All right, I was worried about that. He's getting ice cream. All right, there you go. There's another reputation made, like Tom and lemonade, Martin and ice cream. And you guys recognize William Warfield from PrepSpin. And he's not going to tell all his secrets today, but he might tell a few. Chris Watch says Germany. Okay, I knew it was one of the other Chris. I didn't remember. And Guillaume Diwam is here. He's from France. And Tommy's from Alabama. So it's a crazy group. Elmar's from Germany. My bad. I thought you were in Poland somehow. All right. Curtis says, Tom, you don't have your pre-show graphic up. How are we ever going to know it's the pre-show? Well, I had my pre-show graphic up. Here it is right here. But I realized that I hadn't cropped it correctly for William, so I faded out of that one. And we'll just bring him in normally. All right, let's see. Rick Clear joined us. Hey, Rick. Rick and I met at StreamCon. Welcome. Glad to have you. Anderson's here from Barbados. And Dave. And who else is popping in? Better late than not at all. That's what I always say. Looks like we got the list going pretty well. Okay. Now, I'm loving this new, see, there we go. The new clock in vMix just told me, hey, the show should have started 5 seconds ago. I love it. All right, William, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Well, by the way, just out of curiosity, what video are you sending me? Are you sending me 1080? Actually, I
am sending you 1080. Yes, sir.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And let's look at the stats here in vMix Call, and it says you're sending me 1080. We're using the VP8 codec. We have dropped 0 frames. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I'm sending you back 720, it looks like. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Very good. Kenny says, I have not ever heard you say that, Tom. What is he talking about? All right. Rick said, rain kept us from taping Corvettes today in Atlanta, so I get to watch you. Well, Rick, bad news for Atlanta, but good news for you. How about that? All right. And I will say, Rick, from hanging out at StreamCon, you guys have got some great places to eat up there. I'd forgotten about that. All right, let's see. Last check on anybody that might have joined late. You're going to be punished you know. Oh, Ken is here. Rick is here. Looking down the list, Dave Edwards decided to finally show up. Okay, Dave. And Udall's here. Hello, Udall. Udall is one of my favorite clients in the whole world because she did this beautiful recommendation for me. I need to play that really soon. All right, let's see. Which camera today, says Merle. Merle, I'm using my good old standby PTZ Optics, the 12X, the old Gen 1 that I have. I'm having some trouble getting the Marshall to work. Okay, we're now 2 minutes and 4 seconds late, says VMix 20. So let's go to, I'm hoping all this stuff's going to work. I haven't tested. Hey, Kyle, glad to have you. I haven't tested my shortcuts that I generally do with the show. And what it does, William, is it does a fade to black, which fades your mic and my mic. And then I start the Periscope feed. And then I start the recording on a second PC, but with a script that I wrote to use on the first PC. And then I go to the second shortcut, which kicks everything. At some point, I'm going to try to automate it all, but right now I just want to do just certain parts of it manually so I can make sure I can look over and say, oh, yeah, I did start recording. All right, so here we go. All right, we're going to mute William. Nope, that was me. So we're muting William, and we're going to fade to black. Hello, welcome. I'm Tom Sinclair, and this is Streaming Idiots. That's right. You have come to the, well, maybe you've come to the right place. I've got my lemonade here today, and big full jug of lemonade. So we got a lot of time. We've got a great guest today, William Warfield from PrepSpin. We're going to bring on in just a second. We were chatting up in the pre-show, as well as the pre-show, and you're going to just love this. If you like sports, you're just going to love this one. But we do have a little bit of news before we get to that point. There was an event that occurred last night, if you're in the U.S. Yes, indeed. VMix released version 20 beta 2X, super mega beta 2X. It's supposed to have twice as much. The jury's a little out on that, and they haven't released all the features yet. They've still got features that they haven't released, but they have got the features that they have for version 20 pretty well polished. And of course, throwing it out there in the wild, you never know what's going to happen. But some of my favorite features of it, and let's see can I show you this? Yeah, I'm going to show you my, I use two PCs. One for all the production and then one for streaming and recording. And so what I've done is I'm sending this shot to the second PC. So the output of my main vMix becomes the input on the second one that gets streamed and recorded. And what I did is I took the output on the second one, which of course is the input. Actually, I took the whole screen. Let me just show you. Heck, it's so hard to describe these things sometimes. This is the second PC, and you can see in the top right-hand corner the program output goes to infinity, and the preview shows the preview that we had going on just a second ago. But you notice in the middle there's that neat little clock thing that is now counting up, and it counts up to show what the what in this case what the record time is. So we've been recording for 2 minutes and 45 seconds. It also has the ability to take out the T-bar, so I have more space there, which I really like a lot. And there's some other things you can take out if you don't use, like the quick play button. And so there's just some options for that. You also have the ability to do multiple outputs. I mean, like 6 different outputs if you've got the 4K or the Pro edition. And we'll be exploring some of those as we go along. But I'll tell you, getting all of this to work, I just downloaded it last night, and we're using it on both PCs today. I don't know if you can see clearly in the top left-hand corner, but it's vMix. It says 4K version 20.0.0.20. So this is the version that was released last night, and it's got all sorts of new toys with it, and it's going to be a lot of fun to explore. I haven't had much time to explore it yet, so that's all you get on vMix 20. Except you can go to vMix, the vMix forum, which is forums plural forums.vmix.com, and go to the general tab and then go to the vMix 20 and download the beta and play with it yourself. It's going to be a lot of fun. And yes, you can install the beta if you've never installed vMix, which is cool, you can install the beta and have a free 60-day trial to play with the beta. It's not watermarked or crippled in any way. If you already have vMix, you can install the beta, play with it, and then install whatever version you were using previously of version 19 or 18, 17, whatever. It doesn't impact your ability to upgrade vMix at a later date or not, as the case may be. In fact, a little secret, sometimes the vMix guys forget to turn the clock on. And so if your vMix is more than a year old, you can sometimes update for free instead of having to pay the whopping $60 US upgrade fee. So you may as well try that. I mean, there's a little tip for you right there. What else? Oh, yeah. Full disclosure, this entire show is a giant infomercial with the emphasis on info and not so much on mercial. But here's the mercial part of it. I represent vMix, and so I'm a vMix reseller, and I can sell you vMix. If you go to my website, easternshorebroadcasting.com, you can buy it right now. We also represent PTZ Optics for the PTZ cameras, and Magewell for the capture cards and the USB 3 dongles, and X keys, of course. Love my X keys right there. That's my XK80 that I'm trying out. Not sure if I need 80 keys, but I needed more than 24, which was the one that I was using before. And we also are representing WIDO, which is the wireless HDMI camera transmitter receiver device. We'll be getting some more information on that onto our website pretty soon. And there's one other line that we're thinking about representing too. So we'll let you know more about that when the time comes. How are we doing so far? vMix 20 looks pretty darn stable. I haven't seen any hiccups with it. It's got some cool features in there that are not even, they haven't even noted them on the vMix website yet. I mean, on the forum yet as to existing. So it's kind of like a giant game of hide and seek. I can't wait. The other thing I can't wait for, sound effect. Look what showed up in the mail for me. These are the official, this is the official snack of Streaming Idiots. That's right, they are Dum Dums, sent by my good friend Ken Richard, and we are opening them here on the show. No, we're not opening them here on the show. They have 8 summer flavors. I've got a knife in my pocket, I think. No, I don't. I took it out because I don't want to be armed during the show. Doggone it. The Dum Dums are going to go everywhere. There we go. Oh my goodness. Just look at all the Dum Dums. I mean, it's just Dum Dum heaven. And supposedly in here is I got it first time out of the box. It's a lemonade Dum Dum. Is that not great? Oh my goodness. So, anybody that buys a copy of vMix or anything out of our store gets a free Dum Dum. Woo! That's an offer you can't refuse. And we have them here, and they will not be pre-licked, I promise. They'll come in regular. Oh my goodness. Is there just, it's like being a kid again. Just so much fun with all this stuff. The other thing about being a kid again is thinking back to the days when I started in live streaming, when I duct taped a webcam to a tripod and thought I had arrived. That was 8 years ago. But somebody that's done more than arriving is our next guest, and I'm going to bring in William Warfield from PrepSpin. William, are you? Hold on a second. Let me get your mic on. There we go. Are you with us? Did I get
I'm
you
with
on
you.
correctly? All right, very good.
I think so.
William's coming to us from Lexington, Kentucky over vMix Call, 1080p feed out of vMix. So, doggone, it looks like you're right in the next room. That's an amazingly good picture. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for
Appreciate
coming.
it. Thanks for having me.
You have
Thank
been on
you.
my
Thanks for having
radar. Just every time I turned around, I kept bumping into PrepSpin. PrepSpin was doing this with video and basketball, and doing this with wrestling or volleyball or football or track. And holy cow, man, you guys are getting it.
Yeah, man, it's been a crazy ride. I don't even know how I even got here, to be honest with you. It's started out as a hobby, and now we're here. So I'm on Streaming Idiots.
All right, yeah, that's right. You have arrived now. It doesn't get any better than this. This is the highlight of your career. Okay, but seriously now. When did live streaming get on your radar? When did you first bump into live streaming, that it even existed?
Yeah, well, I told the story a couple weeks ago when I was talking with the PTZ guys, PTZ Optics guys on their show. My boss at the time, I was in marketing, and he wanted me to figure out a way to get his, son's radio broadcast to him in California so that he could listen to the game while he was away. And this was totally before most of the radio stations even thought about streaming. And it was just something that I ended up figuring out, and thanks to Google and thanks to a thing called IceCast back then. We're talking around 2007, 2008. And permission from the radio station, private link to him, just figuring that out and saying, hey man, this is something I can do, and that's truly where it started.
How long ago was that?
2007, 2008. I was already doing a blog, if you will. We had created a website to cover 2 local high schools in my county here in Kentucky. And the blog was growing. People wanted to have the coverage. Actually, some of the very first broadcasts that I did was uploading them, not streaming them, but actually uploading them to be played later. And I did that through this thing. Can you see that?
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, so we had several broadcasts that were basically talking into this digital recorder. I would upload them after the game. People would go back and listen and said, hey, man, you're pretty good. And we had a radio station give us a call during one of our regional tournaments. And he said, if East and West Jasmine, which is the county schools that, they're here in our county, if they do good in the tournament, would you guys like to do all their games? Well, West Jasmine ended up winning the whole thing, so we had several games that we did, and just the feedback, it kind of got me pumped, and the rest is history.
Oh man, that's so great, and you knew that there was something there.
Yeah, that definitely was something that I wanted to do. Well, I found out from this guy at the radio station. They had offered us to broadcast those games. Again, he heard me on one of these and offered me the opportunity to do that. Well, he was streaming. He was one of the very few radio stations that were streaming at the time, and he was using a service called Easy Stream. And a guy named Craig Blanchard up in Maine runs it and does good work with that, the basic streaming stuff. But I talked with Craig, and we ended up basically leasing a web server so that we were able to stream through his service. And this was around the time when the 3G cards were out, so you could do the tethering through your phone if you knew how to do it. And again, it's something that we figured out. We were able to take a little Acer laptop to some of these games and basically use the tethering and connect to the cell phone tower and send our signal out. So we ended up being able to do it live instead of having to use the recorded version of it. And it was just it was something that I took a leap out on and just continue to get better at. And man, just the feedback really is what motivated me to take it to the next level.
Oh, that's cool. So tell me what you guys are doing today.
Well, today we're doing some of America's biggest sporting events. Anywhere from in high school sports here in Kentucky is huge, but from that start and getting into the video, which was a little bit later on, we've been able to continue to get better and better at the video quality, and it's landed us some college jobs. Now we're doing some Division I college stuff for major colleges. We've done pro stuff. I've got a big agreement with the Kansas City Royals minor league baseball team, the Lexington Legends, and we do all their home games, and it's amazing, man. How did I get here?
So you guys are doing baseball and football.
Yes.
And of course you're in Kentucky, so you have to do basketball. And
oh yeah, basketball's king around here. Yes.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, some of the bigger college basketball events that we do are, in Las Vegas or South Florida, where they have a showcase every November. Matter of fact, I just met with those guys again yesterday, just trying to game plan this whole thing out. But we've got 3 major college showcases in November that's coming up that we're going to be broadcasting on behalf of this agency that we work with, and we're talking about big time college teams.
Outstanding. Yeah, you may have seen my buddy R.J. Murdoch over in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Every kind of around Christmas time, he does the Emerald Coast Classic, which is a college basketball tournament, and he does all the preliminary games, and then CBS comes in and does the final. And it's been a lot of fun for him to have that affiliation, to be able to say, yeah, I'm doing the same tournament that CBS is doing. I'm sure if that hasn't come for you guys, it's right around the corner.
Oh yeah, we actually, some of the major networks, when we do some of this, college stuff, even the Legend stuff, a local TV station will come in and, we'll basically go over IP to their station, and they broadcast it live through the IP feed. But when we're in Vegas or when we're in South Florida, they'll have one of those big TV trucks come up, and thankfully, us using the great vMix software now that we're using, we're able to, not only did we have that custom machine where we got the video outputs, but it allows us to plug into those big trucks and makes it really easy for us.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing.
It is, and I just wanted to say this too, Tom. I've been following you ever since you were the Vid Blaster guy.
Oh my God.
So I've been paying attention to your show a long time. I know you said that you kind of saw me on the radar a little bit there, but you've been on my radar for a long time, doing the things that you've done, and I've picked up a lot of goodies from your show. So I tune in every chance that I get.
Good. Well, now you can get dum-dums as well.
That's awesome.
So tell me, what are some of the some of the challenges that you've bumped into that make interesting stories?
I'll be honest with you. The encoders and things like that we've used in the past that we've, tried. I've got their paperweights now. These big $10,000 encoders that we've got that, as time goes on, they just get outdated, and that's really what's so special about the vMix is you can build your own system, and if something gets outdated, well, you can just upgrade that specific part. Right. So, we've got a couple TriCasters that are outdated that can't do what some of these computers can now, and got a couple of the you remember the old Niagara 4100 encoders that they had out from Viewcast, that were out on the market back in the day. They just get older in time, and the beautiful thing again about the vMix is I can build my own PC or I can order it from you, and if something gets old on it, video graphics card need to be upgraded or whatever, I'm able to do that quickly and easy. And plus they keep vMix updated all the time, which is pretty awesome for us. I'm excited about that 2X that was launched yesterday, by the way, that beta release.
It's fun, and it's like a treasure hunt. There's a new feature hidden here and a new feature hidden there. Oh yeah, and we haven't even seen it all. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's been a game changer for us. Again, we're jumping ship from we've used Vid Blaster in the past. We've used Wirecast. We've used the TriCaster, and again, just vMix is just so much better. If I had to go back, and I wish I saved all that money that I spent on that other stuff, but man, vMix has been such a game changer for us in the sports. Wirecast would be perfect for somebody doing a live show, a talk show or something like that. But for sports, you've got to have vMix.
Well, I would think vMix does pretty good for a talk show too.
Yeah, absolutely. I was on Facebook the other day, and there's some people that are really for Wirecast, and so I just thought I would drop that in there, but vMix is amazing for sports. I mean, just so many features. The replay, for example.
Yep.
If it comes with that pro license that you get, that you get the multiple camera replay, which is amazing in itself. Why not just go ahead and spend that $1,200, get the pro license, build your own PC instead of having to go out and buy $30,000 worth of equipment that's going to be a paperweight like some of the other things we have that we've used in the past. So
I agree.
It's just a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. But it's the old saying. At least it's an old saying for me. Back in the day, nobody ever got fired for buying IBM. And the same thing is kind of true-ish today. Nobody ever got fired for buying NewTek because it was a safe decision. It was a company that had been around, has some history. ESPN uses them, all that kind of stuff. But for folks that have a limited budget and have a willingness to explore, vMix makes great sense because you can get into live streaming for literally pennies on the dollar. Whether it's for sports or talk show or streaming for your church or doing community events, it's I think now that and I need to do a show on this is to do a budget show and go out and find what's the cheapest thing I can buy to do everything I want to do with vMix and stream a show. I bet I could do it for less than $250, including the PC, the camera, the microphone, the whole 9 yards. Yep. Now, obviously, you're not doing things on that level. You're not buying your stuff off of eBay. How many events do you think you'll do this year?
On average, we do between 250 and 300. It's every day for us. We're out last night. I just did a preseason soccer game, so we're already into that new season for fall sports. And before we know it, the bigger events will be here. Basketball season's huge in Kentucky, like you had mentioned, and that when that happens, that's 50 games the first week.
Right.
So,
right.
It's busy around here.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Now, how's the revenue part work for you? And don't share what any of the secret sauce, but are you paid by advertisers, or is it pay-per-view, or are the venues paying you to come stream? How are you working that out?
So on the high school stuff that we do, we really don't make a ton of money off of that. Actually, we really don't make hardly any money off the high school stuff that we do. What I do get paid for is when somebody hires me to go out and do the production for an event. So those big-time colleges that call us, the Lexington Legends, for example, we got the state association, the KHSA here in Kentucky that hires us to do all their state championship events. That's really where my business makes its money from. We do got some advertising that we work with on the with the schools for the high school stuff, but it doesn't add up to a whole bunch. It's the production that really pays us. Boy,
I would think if I were, I'd have to think of a business that has a kind of a national reach. But let's say, for example, if I were State Farm, because I know State Farm is really into college sports. If I were State Farm, I would approach you and I'd say, William, we want to sponsor all 300 broadcasts you do this year. We want to be XYZ sponsored by State Farm, and I want to give you $100,000. Would you take that?
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't turn that down at all. We do have, we got for our high school stuff, again, working with local schools, we do got title sponsors and, element sponsors inside the game that we
Right.
do sell to those
Specific to
folks.
that
And
event. Yeah.
specific to that event, it could be specific to that school that we're working with. So, I mean, there is a small revenue model there, but again, it's profit sharing with the school and,
Right.
and
Right.
doing the right thing with it, not walking off to the bank and
Sure.
keeping it all for ourselves.
Sure. No, I understand. I understand. But you guys have got, I mean, basically, an advertiser wants to know eyeballs, and then location. And if you've got,
Yep.
2 million eyeballs a year, divide that in half and say 1 million viewers, there are advertisers out there that would love to be a part of that process, especially since the demographic is going to be people that follow sports. People that follow sports, they buy hot dogs, they buy sporting equipment, they buy tires. I would think you are just perched on the edge of a major across the board contract with somebody. In fact,
Yeah,
somebody
so-
watching this show is going to be calling you and saying, "William, we want to buy your eyeballs."
Yeah. Well, let's hope so. We'll keep our fingers crossed. The beautiful thing about us covering all these high school games that we do, I had mentioned, it's really not about the money in that. It's more or less, trying to get the kids noticed and get them some exposure. So hopefully a college coach is watching them, and we were able to get them. That's really our mission, and how we started this whole thing was, again, I started it with 2 schools here just as a hobby because the only thing that they had in town, was the local paper. We didn't have a radio station or anything like that. So it's about giving back to community and celebrating those kids that are trying to make it to the next level. Again, the reason why we work with the Lexington Legends, the minor leaguers, they're trying to make it to the next level. So if we can put highlight clips out there, get them some of that notoriety out there, that also helps at that level too, and again at the college level as well. So, everything that we do is based off of our mission.
Gotcha. Have you got some clips?
I do. Yeah, absolutely.
Show us some stuff.
Yeah, let's do that. Here's some of our recent highlights here.
Beautiful video.
Yeah, so we used to, broadcast everything in 720, but now where we've built a better computer system, we're able to do it in 1080p 60. So people are actually getting the real deal there, and it makes a big difference.
Awesome. Oh, there's my sport right there. Love soccer.
We love soccer. Actually, we're the only ones in the state
Beautiful.
that really cover soccer the way that we do. A lot of times you'll see, soccer show up during the playoffs on the news or something like that. But we're talking about, regular season through the playoffs. PrepSpin covers soccer better than anybody.
Yep.
This is
Soccer-
a minor league
soccer
baseball
has-
game there.
Soccer has got to be the most difficult sport to broadcast. Football, you've got a break. Basketball, at least you have timeouts.
Yeah.
But soccer is just nonstop action.
It's nonstop, and usually when I do a soccer game, it's just a one camera type of broadcast. I'll sit there and do the production and do the camera and kind of do everything by myself when I go to do the soccer games. And it all works out.
Nice camera. This is your camera work right here? Oh my goodness, that was a party.
Yeah, the lacrosse game that you saw there was our
Yeah.
camera. This is a PTZ camera right here in center field that had that center field shot there, and that's actually Tim Tebow there that just made the diving catch. That was a Sports Center top 10.
Good job. So Sports Center gave you the $1 million on that one too, huh?
Oh no, we submit them to, so when a big time play happens, and this is the really cool part about the vMix replay, is so we clip it out, we export it real quick, and then we upload it to YouTube. And there's also another way, if we're doing the broadcast on YouTube, they got that little highlight clip in the admin panel that we use as well. But we're able to basically tag SportsCenter, and they pick up. This is another top 10 right here, by the way. But we're able to tag them as soon as the play happens, and they pick it up, and sometimes we land on their show.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. This is exciting stuff. I am loving this. What kind of camera are you using here?
I'll show it to you. Matter of fact, I got it. This is the JVC in front of there a little bit better. But this is the JVC 620 that I primarily use, and then we got the Blackmagic monitor on the top. And this thing, it's pretty amazing for sports. It's really good in low light. I haven't had any issues from these cameras. I actually used to use the Sony cameras, the FX7s, and we switched to these because of the SDI output on the back. And I really love this camera. I mean, I wish I had more of them.
So do you think you'll go to 4K at some point?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think with the new, the new i9 processors that just came out, I think you can get them now. They were on back order there for a while, but I think it's right around the corner for us. As a matter of fact, the computer that I've got behind me has got the 1080 graphics card in it from EVGA, and as soon as we're able to get our hands on one of those i9s, I think we're going to play around with this one here and put one of those in there and see how we can make that happen.
Awesome. Exciting. Well, Rick, William, we have used up all of our time. I am so sorry. Would you hang around for a few minutes in the post show and answer some questions in chat?
Absolutely.
I can see some questions piling up there. Great. All right. Well, thank you so much. All right. So, guys, what about William? Awesome story, wasn't it? So if you're watching us live, by all means, hang around. And if you're watching us on, on Facebook or Twitter or Periscope or YouTube directly, come on over to easternshorebroadcasting.com. Now's a great time to get in on the chat so you can ask questions of William. And they're sharing all sorts of information in there, mostly about dum-dums, but they're talking about other things too. Coming up next week, somebody you may not have heard of, Kurt Middlebrooks with Streaming Star Pros in St. Petersburg, Florida, will be our special guest to talk about his live streaming business down there in St. Pete. St. Pete is an area that I visit quite frequently because I've got family down there, and bumped into Kurt, and he and I go pretty far back. I don't know if we go back to the Vid Blaster days or not, but certainly to the early days of vMix, and have been following him, and he's doing some interesting things that I think will interest you. And then coming up the week after that, Larry Megan with Night Owl TV will come on, and Larry has got some interesting ways that he distributes his broadcasts that I think you'll be interested in it as well. So that's next week, Kurt Middlebrooks with Streaming Star Pros, and then the week after that, Larry Megan with Night Owl TV. Don't forget, if you're interested in vMix, PTZ Optics cameras, Majorel capture cards, X keys, or golly, anything else that you think I can help with. Oh, you know what? I forgot. We have our own line of live streaming PCs. We call it live streaming gear. So if you're interested in something either stock off the shelf, you can go to the website and see what we keep in stock. Or if you'd like to have something custom built for you for a particular project. For example, one of my clients came to me just last week and said, Tom, I've got a space that's like this big. And we've got to put a computer in there that does all this stuff. Can you design something to fit into that space? And sure enough, we did it. So if we can help you with a custom design or anything off the shelf, shoot an email, Tom at easternshorebroadcasting.com. I'm thinking of Step Back in Time.tv, Giles channel. And a big shout out to all the guys with the World of Live Streaming, and what a great job they did last week on Streamfest Live. If you missed it, you can get that online. It's like 11 and a half hours of broadcast, but it's been broken up in little choppy parts, so you can go to just the sections you want. And I think their YouTube channel is Step Back in Time TV, so go check that out. That'll be a lot of fun. And then what's the other thing? Oh yeah, get a dum-dum. Buy something and get a dum-dum. How about that? Thanks so much for showing up. If you watch this long on YouTube, you may as well subscribe. You're hooked. I'm hooked. We'll see you next week. Thanks for coming in. And we're done. All right.
Awesome.
Well done. Well done. William, that was a treat. Thank you so much. Golly.
Hey, no, thank you for having me.
You are more than welcome. I'm just ticked off at Paul Richards because, as soon as he saw that I was having you on my show, he went out and grabbed you first. So me and him, we're going to come to blows one of these days. All right. Looking back through the questions, Curtis was asking about cameras, and I think we already talked about that you're using a PTZ. Are you using a PTZ Optics PTZ for your center field cam?
I've got a PTZ Optics camera that we use at the ballpark. We use it down the baseline. But the one in center field is not currently a PTZ Optics camera. It's one of the Vatios that we're using.
Okay.
It's 30 times zoom. So as soon as PTZ Optics comes out with that 30 times zoom, I promise you we may make that switch there.
Okay. All right. Merle, I think Merle's question was already answered. And by the way, guys, if you've got questions, go ahead and post them now. Merle's question, I think somebody else answered about profit sharing with the school. That's an NFHS rule that requires that, right?
No, not at all. Our state association here in Kentucky kind of does their own thing around that. They are a member of the NFHS network, but that is something that they don't have in their agreement with them. So, that is something that we've got around that. But what we do is we've got contracts with some of the local schools, some of the private schools here in Lexington, and those are the schools that we're doing the profit sharing with. Gotcha. Cool. By the way, I used to be the Kentucky rep for the NFHS network, and it's a good platform. It's pay-per-view, but I don't think that there's any other platform out there that is just as good as what we're using with the social media platforms right now. We've actually got a partnership set up with Google, which is a beta partnership based on the high school coverage that we do. And, they've been awesome to work with. So a lot of our games are streamed directly through YouTube. Gotcha. Mm-hmm. I would think if I were a school, I would want to have as many people watch as possible. I mean, I'd rather see an audience of 3,000 than I would a paying audience of 100. I think in the long run, it's going to do more for the school. Yeah, the schools that we work with, they're awesome. They're I've been to schools where they're all about the money, and then I've been to schools where they're all about the athlete. And the schools that we work with are all about the athlete. So, again, it kind of fits in our mission where we're just trying to, give these athletes some exposure. And the tools that we've got now are able to do that. For example, in the back end of YouTube, we can create a playlist for each player and just have nothing but his highlight clips on there or her highlight clips on there. And, just the exposure that had. The days of sending a DVD to a college coach, and, by the way, they never look at those. Very rarely do they look at those. But if you send them a link and they're able to just, click on it from their computer, that's a big difference. They don't have that stack on their desk that they never get to, but a link is simple. Right. I love it. Let's see. Kenny is asking, are you able to control the Vatio cameras with vMix, or do you need a separate controller? No, it's a separate controller. It's a web-based controller that we're using with that. We are able to control the PTZ optics camera through vMix, but
Right.
Vadio, the language on it is totally different, so it doesn't work.
Okay. All right. Kiwi
We'll
Chris
put that
is
in the
asking.
suggestion box.
Yeah, Kiwi Chris is asking about the cost of the WIDA system. Chris, that's $995, and we'll be having that available soon. I don't think it's officially released until the 20th of August. Jerome Jerome says, "Do we have to use 4K cameras?" No, Jerome. I still have people that are approaching me about doing production in standard definition, 480 or 360 even, because their budgets are so limited and they're working with somebody else's second and third generation equipment that they were gifted.
And that's usually a challenge where we go to as well. Some of these venues that we go to, we have to down convert because we're doing everything in the 1080p. But we have to down convert a lot of our signals so that it's able to fit on their video boards. Even at big venues like MGM Grand, when we went there, we had to down convert it. Now the T-Mobile Arena in Vegas, they're all ready for the HD stuff, but some of them older arenas, they're not.
A lot of the ones that I've worked with are working at 360. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. All right, Chris from Germany says, do you use the vMix slow motion instant replay? And I think you do. And what's your opinion about it?
Yes.
Have you used other replay systems? Have you used the 3Play or anything else?
Yes. Yeah. So when I go to some of these college games, they have the 3Play set up. And last time I went, last few times that I went to go do some production for them, I just brought my vMix replay system, with me. So. I love it. I think it's a lot easier to use, A. But B, I think the quality of it is just as good, if not better, than what the 3Play is, quite honestly. Mm-hmm. Plus, you can do 4 cameras and not just 3.
Really? 3Play.
Yes.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, so they got the 3Play, yeah, and then you can do 4 with vMix. So it's a game changer.
I would think so.
We're enjoying that Dum Dum, by the way.
Oh man, are you kidding? It's lemonade flavored. It's great. I've got Dum Dum and I've got lemonade here in the other hand. This is good stuff.
I'll trade you some beef jerky for that for one of those Dum Dums.
Done. Deal. I love beef jerky. Oh man, don't tell my wife that.
We got some of the best here.
She doesn't like all the sodium that stuff has, but I dig it. So. How would you compare the 3Play to the vMix system in terms of learning how to use it? Which one is easier?
Yeah, so when we go to here's my deal with that. So when we go to one of these college events and they've got the replay operator signed up, and by the way, a lot of times when you go to those college events, they need somebody that's licensed to use the 3Play. It's not just throw somebody behind it and let them use it.
Licensed?
I found that. Yeah, that's the thing is somebody has to be licensed to use it, which, pass a certification, I guess, on how to use it and have to be able to show that to the college or the network that they're working with. I've rented that several times, actually. But with the vMix replay, I can show somebody in 10 minutes how to use it, and they're caught on to it. Just the simplicity, the layout of it is a huge game changer.
So you would take somebody
I like
me.
the little control too that we use.
You would take somebody like me and say, okay, Tom, this is how you use it. The game starts in 10 minutes. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean we've worked with a lot of high school interns, a lot of college interns that just want the experience, and we've thrown them under the fire at times, and they've been able to pick it up right away. So. I can, be a big testament to that it has happened and they picked up right away on it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do like Dum Dums. I've forgotten how I like these guys. Thank you, Ken.
You know what? The thing that makes the vMix replay special too is the shortcut. So we've got the little controller. I don't have it here on me, so I can't show you right now. But it's at the ballpark. But we've got the controller that's got the shortcuts programmed in on it. So we went in and set it. It's got the -10, the -5 seconds back, and basically it's just hotkeys that we press every time something big happens. And you can drag that play out. If you need to get a little bit more extra time on that. And again, it's just simple to use.
Awesome. So
what's that commercial? A caveman can do it.
A caveman can do it. That's right. So coming up this fall, everybody's getting geared up for football. I was sitting down last night with my wife. We were watching Hard Knocks on HBO about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jameis Winston has been my guy since he was playing for Florida State. But how
Seminole
many
fan, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Go Noles. How many football games do you think will be live streamed this fall? Half of them?
Overall or from my network?
Just overall, just all, across the U.S.
Ooh. Well, again, from my experience with working with the NFHS network and just a lot of schools, I imagine it's going to be way in the thousands. Everybody's streaming now. Everybody's out there. I mean, they've got classes now in these high schools that are doing nothing but that. They show up on, a Friday night and do a big football game, and it's all kid driven.
Right.
And that's something that's actually being taught, in a lot of these schools right now.
Production classes. Yep. I'm actually
Yeah,
spending
and,
Monday in
it's getting them
Mississippi.
job ready.
Yeah, it is, and it's giving them a creative outlet too, because school doesn't frequently give you an opportunity to be creative. But I'm heading over to Mississippi on Monday to work with 2 high schools and get them ready, and actually I'm working more with the staff, the teachers, than I am the kids, because you put the kids in front of vMix and they got it. It's the grown-ups that are taking so long to come up to speed on this stuff.
There's an old saying: you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I guess is how that used to go. I ran into that before, but again, the vMix layout and even Wirecast is simple to use. I mean, either one of those people pick up quick on. I haven't had any issues with showing somebody how to use that, and they call us with questions a lot of times, but I mean those 2 softwares right there are definitely leading the way. vMix more so to me, but yeah.
Yep. Here's the bottom line with me, and one of the reasons why I loved VidBlaster so much is because there was a single person behind it. And if you could convince him that there was something that was going to benefit him to put in his software, he would do it. And then he went schizo or whatever happened. And the vMix guys are the same way. They're listening to their customers. They, the good ideas that they've come up with, like vMix Call, that is the bomb idea in vMix 19, is something that was discussed in the chat room, not the chat room, in the forum of vMix probably 3 years ago, and is probably one of the most active threads in their forum, where people have gone back and forth on how to implement it. And Martin listened, and when I bumped into him, it was either at NAB when I was out there working with them at the vMix booth, or at StreamCon when he came and gave the keynote. One of those times he said, we knew this is something we wanted to do, but the technology was not there yet for us to do it. The WebRTC was not what it needed to be for us to implement it in vMix. And then as soon as it was, pow, he got it. Same thing with NDI. He knew that technology was coming. As soon as it was available, pow, he put it in. I think vMix was the first software outside of anything NewTek produced that had NDI in it. And you talk about an early adopter. They were first one out of the gate. That's what I love. Now Telestream, yes, I'm sure they make a great product, but if you want to call up the developer of Telestream, you're not getting
Can't
anybody.
do it.
You can't send him an email because there is no developer. There's a team, and that team ebbs and flows, and
Right.
they work on various projects with different pieces of software, but it doesn't have the heart that vMix has got. That's what I look. Heart. The Replacements. You ever
Yeah,
see that movie,
that's
The
one-
Replacements? Heart. We want somebody with heart.
You're on to something big there. I mean, he's totally changing the world right now. I mean, you hear all these stories about guys like Steve Jobs or Bill Gates. Martin Sinclair, he needs to be in that group right there. What he's doing with this software and the way he's changing the world, how everybody puts out things. And I mean, you could say Mark Zuckerberg and guys like that have done it with Facebook or whatever. But
Sure.
Martin Sinclair, he's one of those guys, man. I mean, if I'm investing in somebody, that's the guy that I'm going to be investing on, and now's a great time to do so because he's still young, and man, the future looks so bright with vMix and everything that they do.
If you needed vMix to do one thing for you that it doesn't do right now, what would that be?
Sell advertising. Honestly, I mean, it's a total solution. I mean, it is honestly the total solution, and him adding that clock. I think the one thing that I wish that it did, where I didn't have to source out a third party, was for me doing the sports is the sports graphics. If there was something that was able to get that data without us having to go out and pay a service or buy another expensive piece of equipment, if there was something that we were able to get that data from those scoreboards, that would be huge.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. And there's a great outfit there in Florida that does do the scoreboard thing, and they're not they're not totally expensive like some of these other companies that are out there that does it, but
Right.
that's who we're using right now is them, and sometimes we use LiveScore, and
Uh-huh.
Sportscast is the name of that outfit down
Right.
in Florida. I know you talked to the guy there. I've seen
Yep.
him on your show before.
He was on the show.
Yeah, that thing's pretty good. I wish that vMix and him would kind of work together a little bit closer on that. Matter of fact, we've got some of those score bots, and we're using the data sources in vMix right now to bring in that data. So I mean, it's working for us. I just wish there was a little bit easier way to get that in there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know one of the guys that sometimes represents vMix, Seth Haberson up in Spokane, Washington, has put together
Seen
some
that.
packages. Have you talked to him?
I have not. I've seen him on one of his shows, but
Yep. Yep.
I haven't talked to him yet.
Talk
I did
to
download
him.
the app that he.
Yep.
I downloaded an
The
app
controller
that
app.
controls
Yeah.
the. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, exactly. Off the iPad, I did get that, and it works
Right.
pretty good.
Right. No, he's cracking the code on some of those scoreboards, so far as taking the serial output and figuring out
Mhm.
what it is and converted it in a way that vMix can understand. And I know that he has a regular full-time gig. He's a youth pastor up there.
Yeah.
But
I know New Tech with the live text, they've done it with Daktronic devices,
Mhm.
and you can get the data from that with the live score or with the live text. But
with a plug-in.
it'd be
Yep.
cool to have something like that in vMix.
In fact, Martin mentioned that
That's really my only complaint.
Martin
or wish.
mentioned the concept of plugins last night on the vMix Funtime live show. And I mean, it was
Yeah.
just a passing comment, but the whole idea of beginning to focus more on plugins, third-party plugins, as well as plugins that vMix could produce. So maybe that's kind of the next step. Maybe that's a hint of what we're going to see in vMix 21. Because you remember with vMix, the odd number releases are the big feature releases, and then the even number releases like vMix 20 are just going to be lots of stuff, but no real one killer feature, at least not for everybody. But the vMix
Yeah,
19 with vMix Call, that won the NAB Best of Show Award from Streaming Media Magazine for vMix Call. I mean, that was a killer feature. But I'm betting you vMix 20 is not going to win any awards because it doesn't have a sexy feature to it. Even if they gave away dum-dums, it still wouldn't win an award.
Here's the thing: if you bought the 3Play that we talked about earlier, and you bought the Skype call thing that's out there on the market, and you bought the software, the switching software, the vMix software, but say another vendor, you would be spending pretty close to $30,000. You can have Tom build you a system for under
6 systems for
$30,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can have one system that does all of that. It's amazing.
Or William, I think in a studio environment, and I'm not sure how it translates over into a mobile environment like sports, but in a studio environment, divide and conquer.
Yeah.
PCs are cheap, and right now I've repurposed an old second generation i7 to do my streaming and recording. Popped a solid state drive in there, and away we go. I dump everything off that I don't need, and so it doesn't fill up. But currently it's running 20% streaming 3 different places and recording, and I think to do that same kind of divide and conquer, to have a replay machine, definitely the way to go. That's what Jim Jacobs is doing with Jacobs Media Services.
Yeah, I talked to Jim just last week, actually. Yeah, I talked to Jim just last week. He's got some really good things going on with that Friday night network that he's got. Here in the studio, what I've got, I'm using the Asus laptop, GL502, I think is what it is.
Right.
So I've got that, and then this PC that's behind me, which has got the 7700K in it. So what I do is I take the output from NDI and come over here, and then I'll stream through this thing. But if I need to go to a soccer game or something simple, a one camera setup, I'll take this Asus with me, Asus, excuse me, and just plug my little Blackmagic Thunderbolt 3 thing in it, and off I go, with my camera. So it's really, really simple. Last night at the soccer game, I actually I put a solid state drive into this Asus as a separate. It had the the old hard drive in it. Well, I replaced that with the Samsung solid state drive, and I was able to run a replay and also stream at the same time, and record. So it handled all that perfectly and never did hit 40% on the Asus. So. Pretty good.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Yeah. Cool. Well, William, look, I don't want to keep you any longer, but you've been just a saint to come on the show and spend so much time with us today. Thank you.
I'm a huge fan, Tom, and any time that I'm able to come on a show and you'd have me, I love to come on. I like all
one more thing before you go. What do you think about, and this, I may be throwing a match into a big pile of gasoline, but it's just a thought. What if maybe after football season we get you and Jim Jacobs and maybe 1 or 2 other guys that are streaming football, and we bring you on for a kind of a panel show, a panel discussion, and talk about how the season. Wouldn't that be fun? Oh,
that'd be real good. That'd be real good.
So we'll do that around Super Bowl time.
We definitely need to do that.
The Super Bowl panel of live streaming. Got it. Okay.
That's awesome.
Well, the comment, I got to recognize one comment in the chat room because it's just so twisted, that Giles says that outputs are quite sexy. So Giles, you have got to get out more. You have got to turn off that computer, walk away, go out, have a beer, find a friend. Outputs, they're not. William, thank you. And
hey, Tom, if I could real quick, I've been thinking about this all day, and I just wanted to say it before we go, is, in my case, and I'm sure in yours as well, you and I share something in common, and that is something that education can't teach us, or anybody else can't teach us. That you gotta have it in you, and that's determination. And heart for what we do, and I I admire you for everything that you do. And when you have that drive in you, that determination, you can't fail. You're going to be somebody, and I just appreciate all you do.
Well, you're very kind, but in my case, William, it's kind of that idiot psyche that you're just not smart enough to know when to stop. You just keep on going, and you just to heck with what everybody else says. I'm an idiot. I'm going to do it
Persistence
anyway.
pays off, though.
Yes,
That's the biggest key. Persistent pays off. Stay persistent, folks.
Yep. Good words of wisdom from William. William, cool, man. Hang on a second. We're going to drop the stream, and I've got one word for you privately. But thank you guys for tuning in today. I appreciate it. And ladies, because I saw some ladies out there. And, come back and see us again next week when we've got Kurt Middlebrooks with us. Kurt has been doing a cooking show. So we're going to go from sports, and what do we do before and after and during a sporting event? We eat. That's right. Tailgate. Absolutely. So next week we're going to be talking cooking and other things with Kurt Middlebrooks, and this is cool. So we're going to let the stream run out just a little bit so that we don't cut you right off, but we'll see you again next week. And we need to stop the stream.